And now we have with us on the dais two eminent people, distinguished guests of ours, guests of honor for the morning session, Sri Seetharaman ji and Sri Sudarshan ji. I'm sure you people are going to enjoy their talks because I will talk about Seetharaman ji and Sudarshan ji a little while later. But one of the most experienced people, one of the most people who get valued in their lives in our economy are these people here. So please put your hands together once again for our eminent guest of the morning. I'll talk about our first guest, Sri Seetharaman Shankar Narayan, is a visionary leader and a seasoned engineer. நான் சீசன்டு சொல்றேன், நிறைய பேர் பிறந்திருக்க மாட்டா, அவ்வளோ எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருக்கு அவருக்கு. With an illustrious career spanning over 5 decades, it's very, very big achievement. And that too, at a time when India was not very good in the manufacturing sector, he has been a pillar of the manufacturing sector right from those days. And as a founder and chairman of Super Autoforge, one of the very reputed names in the industry, Sri Seetharaman has been instrumental in revolutionizing the industry with innovative technologies and process. Adaliyum pioneering cold forging technology, right? He is the man who pioneered cold forging technology 50 years ago, established Superforge as early as 1974. எவ்வளவு பேர் இங்க 74 born, 74? Very nice. And he is the one who's paved the way for the country's automotive sector and the manufacturing industry sector to start growing. So, ஒரு விதையை விதைச்சார் சொல்லலாம் இல்லையா? He is one of those early persons who sowed the seeds of this industry. Secondly, you need to talk about a person who's hands-on leadership, a man who's absolutely grounded, humble. You can see the humility that you can see on stage. Hands-on leadership with his extensive experience and technical expertise. Sri Seetharaman continues to be actively involved in the company's operations even at this age. As far as I'm concerned, age is just a number, and Sri Seetharaman ji represents that age is just a number. Under his leadership, Super Autoforge has developed numerous challenging and critical components for the automotive sector and other industries, showcasing his commitment to quality and innovation. His journey is marked by his passion. Passion is the utmost thing that drives. Passion for engineering and innovation. With over 5 decades of experience, he has demonstrated exceptional leadership and technical expertise, guiding Super Autoforge to become a very prominent player in that industry circle. He serves as the director for Superforge and Rasai Flow Lines Private Limited, showcasing his diverse interests and expertise in the manufacturing sector. WBWA B for BIS is immensely privileged and honored to have you as our guest of honor for the day, sir. We welcome you once again. Please put your hands together. Before I request him to talk, we would do the felicitation for Sri Seetharaman ji. I would request our President, Sri Shivanarayan sir, to do the honors.
Vishwe cha devaha Adityairindras sagano marudbhirasmabhyam bheshachakarat Yajnanchanastanvancha prajancha Adityairindras sahasishadhati Agne tvanno antama utatrata shivo bhava varothyaha Vasoragnirvasushrava accha nakshidyumatta maggarayindaha त्वा शोचिष्ठले दिवः सुम्नाय नूनमीमहे
सखिभ्यः
दीर्घायुत्वाय बलाय वच्छसे सुप्रजास्त्वाय च सा अथो जीव शरदः शतम्
Good morning to all of you. Really, it gives me great pleasure and happiness to me on this audience. I would say a different audience than I have addressed before because it's a exclusively Brahmin businessmen and entrepreneurs. That's an added great satisfaction and pleasure. Look back on any Brahmin family. If you see 3 generations back, either it would have been a pandit or a teacher or a landlord. I don't think business was into them 3-4 generations back compared to Chettiars who have been maybe 10 generations, Marwaris who were businessmen for 10-12 generations. Yeah, thank you. Compared to that, we are into business only last 2 generations. Take my own case. My father, hailing from a Tanjore district, lack of opportunities. He did his graduation. Yeah, in the good old 1930s, and he came to Chennai in 1933 for business. Probably he would have been one of the earliest Brahmin to have come. That too, he came for opening a tailoring shop in Chennai. You know, very different for a Brahmin. Because that time, I understand there is a lot of change happening. From a traditional dress of Indians, Brahmins particularly, people are changing over to the British style of pants, shirts and all. And service that industry or the opportunity, he migrated as an apprentice in a tailoring shop. Probably learned that art in a matter of 4 or 5 years. When the Second World War broke out in 1939 or 39, he went into what is called army clothing. Then what happened? The war was taking place all over the world. Britain made India as the place to make all the uniforms for all the soldiers all over the world. So through 1939 to 1942 or 38 to 42, he got into what is called army clothing, mass production of uniforms, something like 6,000 pants and shirts a day each. There were the number of contractors. They will just dump clothes, cut clothes and sewing threads. Probably in the early 40s, he was having 700-800 tailors on ships making army clothes, uniforms for the army. Of course, the war ended. His fortune also dwindled. He tried many other industries, lost a lot of money, a lot of contracts and things like that. Again, in the early, I would say mid-50s, he built a very, very good industry called container, drums and containers for the paint, chemical, ink and things like that. Those days in the early 50s, everything was coming from either Bombay or Calcutta. Chennai, there was practically no industry making containers. He was one of the earliest person to have set up a container plant in Chennai. I am born in 45, I am 81 today, proud 80 plus youngster. So, I passed out my engineering in 1967. He didn't want me to enter the container business. He closed it down in the October, the year before I passed out because no temptation for me. The reason being, making a big drum, a 30 liter or 40 liter, 60 liter drum, material cost used to be 80 to 85%. Labor value added was very little because just making a drum. It did not involve any technology of making at all. So he said, if you have graduated into engineering, he said, this is not the business for you. This is a commodity. This is meant for people who want to make commodity. Though it was a profitable business, he said, sorry, you have to find something that is niche, which is good, which is progressive. So I went into job with Larsen and Toubro for 3 years. So 1970, February, I quit my L&T job as a management trainee there and started a small machine shop. In the 70, when I started, we were only probably a handful of people, though in that industry, I'm saying 55 years back. We were only probably 7, 8 companies. Rambal was the leader in the trade, and we are there. The fledgling TVS body group had just started in the late 60s. Few companies were there. Opportunity was less. More than the number of companies, India was in the grip of heavy socialism those days, early, late 60s, 60s. We were not an open community. We had no exposure to third world. We were a country within ourselves. And very, very little growth. Still, we were managing to, for that matter, compared to today, in the 60s, there are hardly 30,000 cars for a whole year between Fiat and Ambassador. And labor activism was very, very tough those days. Either another factory will be in strike for 3 months a year. If Ambassador strike was over, Fiat will be in strike for 3 months. So, and there were only 2 motorcycle companies, Rajdoot and Royal Enfield. Java had then started. They didn't do that well. So opportunity was also limited. So somewhere in 1974, since a lot of parts I was turning, I was making a lot of scrap. I thought, why not I make a process where I don't waste material. That's where I got into studying about this cold forming, cold forging technology. So 75, I took a big risk those days. Say the machine from Japan costed over 4.6 lakhs. Probably the whole of my family's fortune. So took a loan and started this cold forming industry in 1974. I'm telling all this because those of you who may not want to take a risk, I want to say what it is. So yes, there were a lot of initial tough years, a lot of challenges to go through. I'm happy to say today that we are one of the largest exporters of automobile components of India. Last year we exported close to 1,200 crores of auto components, mostly to Europe, USA and other countries, Japan and all. Our company does a turnover of about 1,600 crores. We employ about 1,800 people. So it has been a grinding path. Yes, after the economy opened up in the 1990s, there are a lot of opportunities starting from 95, 96, 98. India opened up to the world. We had the opportunity to go to the global business and the company could do well. And here we are today. I have now been successfully able to transition the business to my next generation. So they are virtually running the company. I do some backseat driving, going and probably commenting on things and probably guiding them in some way. So when Vaidyanathan of Aero Industries called me, I said, what do you want me to talk? He said, just give me whatever do's and don'ts of what you learned in your business career. So I just want to probably cite a few. In fact, I have written a book. Those of you who wanted, I may probably approach me later. If you want me to talk of a few points, don't take it as sermon from me. It's mostly what I gathered as the precise things that one has to. Number one, you should never do your business because there is money in a business. You got to have a passion in what you do or love what you do. Then only business makes sense. If anybody wants to get into a so-and-so business, there is money in it. It's not the right way to get into business. Because to do a business itself, it should be an urge from you to do something. And it should not be only money can't just be the motivating factor to do a business. Then you will get dejected very soon because anything is going to be challenging start with. So passion is, I would say, vital. If you have a chosen field, you must have absolute passion to do that. Moment you have chosen a field as your field of doing, it can be anything, it can be manufacture, it can be service, it can be consultancy, anything, but the field must be your own chosen field, and there's nothing short of going to the full depth of any field. No way you can learn halfway and then that's enough for my business is no good. You got to go fully. And as you must be knowing, the last 15 years after the Japanese industries came into India, the process is the mantra. It can be a manufacturing business, it can be a selling business, anything. There are certain processes which govern a manufacturing or a business. So processes are the most vital thing. How you lay your processes, and once you have a laid down process, the firm must stick to process and not take shortcuts and change on day-to-day basis. That's not going to help. Process should be a mantra for any company. And the initial days of any business, to some extent applies to later date also. A never die attitude must be there. If you are a person who is going to give up easily, you are not right for business. At the same time, you can't be foolhardy, running behind something that cannot be achieved. A small differentiation must be made by you. For example, when I wanted to take cold forging as an industry, I knew it's being done in Japan. I knew it's being done in America. Then I thought, why? If somebody has done somewhere, why I can't do that? That kind of a moment you try to do that, then you can't leave it halfway. So you must have an attitude to go to the end and pursue and achieve what you want to do. Yes, business by itself is called a risk. There is no business, say, zero risk. It may be the business risk may vary from nothing to maybe very high, but still managing the risk is a big part of the business. You can neither go and put in everything into the business and be without a cash flow, or too stingy not to put any money. So a good balance is required when you want to take a big risk plunge. Moment you look at an opportunity, you have been in the business for 5-6 years, you know the trade, you know the opportunity before you. If you think the opportunity is good, take a big plunge. Though that kind of risk must take. But blind risk is not a great idea. And while any starting business has to struggle, there is nothing called a business started and you are okay in the 6 month, 8 month. Yes, anything that you start is going to face challenges because there are people already doing it in the field who are going to challenge you and obstruct you also. So it's going to be definitely. But having got over your initial phase of development, you must develop a long-term vision. No point in, if you are going to be satisfied, okay, I am comfortable within this margin, within this business, let me not take more risks, then you are bound to be killed in course of time because there is nothing, once you are in a business, nothing called you stay put somewhere. You have got to keep running to stay afloat. So you got to be keep growing, and opportunity is there. Nothing wrong in creating big capacities, taking a risk. That's what we did. Moment we found some opportunities, we took very big risk in investing huge sums, looking at developing the business further. And of course, the fair pricing is a big factor. How you deal with the customer is a big factor. There are many times an opportunity comes where you can make a killing margin. But if you are going to be tempted to shortcuts and, making money in a one go, even when opportunity rises, certainly you are missing something tomorrow. So some balance must be, yes, you are a human, you got to take advantage of an opportunity, but there must be a limitation on what kind of advantage you take. Your pricing must be such that you are still respected tomorrow for what you did. You must stay in continuous interaction not only with your customers, your vendors, with your subordinates. You must, very, very important is treat your employees with a big dignity. No, very often we fail to do that. Respecting your employees. When I say respecting, it doesn't mean you are lowering your stature before them, but treat them as dignified humans, as or whatever their qualification to the merits, what they demand, don't treat them as a employee who takes salary from you. That ends your relationship. The day you think that I'm paying, he is working, sorry, you are not going to get a good employee. You got to definitely treat them with more dignity and this thing. I would very proudly say that I was running a manufacturing unit in 1970. At least from 1990, I have more than 700-800 people all the time. In the 2000s, I had more than 1,500 employees all the time. In the last 55 years, I have not lost one day due to any labor unrest. For the entire day, we never lost one shift also. We never had a union. Even today, we don't have a union with 1,900 employees. Reason is we have a welfare committee in every plant. The elected representatives, we make sure our managers do talk to them every month. When you talk to an employee every month, they have no demand. I want to tell you very honestly, the typical employee, if you ask him every month what you do, other than salary, of course, salary is something you can't take every month. They have only simple requests like summer they want more, they want cold water, or the tea which you supply is not good. They only have minor requirements. Only when you don't talk to them, the gap becomes wider. You know, your communication channels get broken, and anybody can communicate to them anything about you. The day you talk to them directly, they know who you are. But all the time, if you are going to talk to them through another channel, then you are widening your gap. This is more important to companies who employ blue-collar employees. Movement employ more than 50, 60 blue-collar employees. It's always good to be in touch with them rather than you sit in a third floor AC room and they don't know who the owner is. So that's not going to help you run a good industry. Businessman, moment you have chosen business as your profession, you have to be an extrovert. There is no way you can be an introvert and be a successful businessman, because networking with not just customers, with a lot of peer industries, suppliers, vendors, contractors. So your networking has to be good. You must be up to date on information of what's happening around you connected with your business. You can't just be focused to buying material, doing something, sending and get money. So networking across is very important for successful business. That also gives you, opens your eyes to a lot of opportunities. And then what is more important is to be proactive. Very often, we wait till the last doomsday to take it. The moment you know something is going wrong, don't wait until things go very badly wrong and then you go and jump in, you can't rectify it. So, the moment you find something is going wrong, start putting a greater attention, face the situation rather than, don't try to avoid situation. Very often some supply commitment is there, you go and hide. That doesn't help you. You face and tell the customer, you are not cheating. There are situations which has really made you not to deliver. You can upfront tell, and customers do respect that. And one small thing, it may look silly, but it's a very important thing in my career I found. Never avoid a phone call. Somebody calls, better take the call and talk to people. The habit of, let me take it later, it really makes the other person feel insulted. You also forget most often. So, attending calls, however busy you are, you can always say, I'm busy in a meeting, let me call you back. Nothing wrong about it. Never be lordly not to take calls and, if somebody calls, I don't care. That situation never helps you in a business. Loyalty, when I say loyalty, I am not saying the loyalty of your employees to you. There are many situations you need to be loyal as a businessman. If I have come through all this, call myself a reasonably good businessman. So many hundreds of people helped all through my way, all through my career. There are a lot of people who helped me all through. I can't every year forget that man that year and go forward. So you need to develop a loyalty to people who help you around. Then particularly service people, for instance, the last 30 years, I have not changed my civil contractor once. Even though I give it to a tender, I'll tell them, okay, this is your chance to meet the rates, take it, or electrical contractor. So, for a small advantage of few lakhs or few thousands, keep changing your vendors, never help you. Because the loyalty you receive from them on a long-term contract is much larger than keeping changing for a small amount every now and then. These are whatever I told you now up to now is related to the business. But most important for a businessman, moment you are in business, in your own crazy involvement to business, you forget your families very often. So, business doesn't mean you spend all your energy in the time in the business and not forget your family. So, businessmen must find time for their family, particularly on your early career, however so difficult it is. Some fixed hours, some fixed times spent with family and attend is more important than later on. When you have become big, you can never catch that back that is gone. So family, attention to family is a very important factor that a businessman does. And finally, particularly for youngsters who are into business, certain amount of disciplined exercising, maybe a walking, jogging, or go to a gym, whatever it is, keeping your health, good mental health, good physical health leads to good mental health. So keeping yourself healthy, agile, helps business indirectly in a big way. Therefore, develop a good habit of keeping your health on top. Never let it loose in the process. You're being very serious, very concentrated. Business doesn't mean you can slack your health and lose your opportunity. Once again, I'm very happy that so many thousands and thousands of Brahmins who are not by their religion not to be in money making, because of compulsions of the governmental actions where you are suppressed, thousands have got into business today. They are all doing well all over India. As I go there, I find hundreds and thousands are doing so well. It's a very good change. Business is small risk, but Brahmins must take that business risk because you are intelligent, you are capable of overcoming hurdles. We've been taught to think Vedically. Therefore, I urge and encourage as many Brahmin youths to take on to business. And lastly, before I take leave, I leave my number with arrow. Vaidyanathan has my contact. Any youngster wants to reach out to me for any advice or anything, you are always welcome to reach me. I am not that busy. Therefore, please, I'll request Vaidyanathan to probably circulate to you my contact. You are welcome to reach me anytime for any advice. I wish you all a grand success, very successful career, all happiness. Let Almighty help you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your lovely advice. The ரெண்டு மூணு டேக்அவே என்னடா, age is just a number, man, and you went beyond words to prove that. You said you are just a septuagenarian on the stage. Our president is a septuagenarian, but octogenarian பார்த்தேன்னா இங்க யாருமே இல்லை. யாருன்னா இருக்கலாம் octogenarian above 80. யாரு? Put your hands together for him. 81 yearsல வந்து he is still active. That's the most important. Hyphenated words la பார்த்தேன்னா how can somebody be very active, right? Very nice, sir. It was very nice to hear you talk. And most importantly, அந்த humility and modesty க்கு சொன்னார் பார்த்தீங்களா? நம்மலாம் சொல்ல இந்த காலத்து பசங்கலாம் சொல்லுவா, நீங்கெல்லாம் பூமர்ஸ், நீங்கெல்லாம் யூ பிலாங் டு அ வெரி டிஃபரெண்ட் ஜெனரேஷன். நம்ம பசங்களே நம்மள சொல்லுவோம். ஆனா இவரை பார்த்தா 3 ஜெனரேஷன் தள்ளி இருக்காரு, ரைட்டா சொல்லலாம். பட் லுக் அட் த வே த மேன் சேஸ், I am available, my doors are open, please reach out to me. This is what the lesson that the youth of this country have to take from these people. Thank you once again, sir, for your time and being with us. You have honored us really. Thank you.